All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on something that a lot of us in the IT world just take for granted: vendor-sponsored research. Those white papers and reports that promise to give us all the answers. Well, it turns out there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Let's get into it. So just imagine you're in a room just like this one. Your company is on the verge of making a huge multi-million-dollar tech decision, and everyone at the table is leaning on these research reports, trusting them to be unbiased expert guides. The pressure is on, and a lot is riding on getting this right. And right there, that's the big question, isn't it? What happens if the very research that's supposed to be your North Star is actually just a cleverly disguised sales pitch? That's what we're here to figure out. To really get our heads around this, we have to look at the two sides of the coin. Because this kind of research, well, it's both a promise and a potential peril. Okay, so here's the fundamental tug of war. On one hand, you've got the promise of getting expert insights, right? Someone to help you cut through the noise and make smart choices. But on the other hand, there's this huge risk that hidden biases from the company footing the bill could completely twist the results and lead you down the wrong path. What this all boils down to is a classic conflict of interest. I mean, think about it. The whole point of research is to chase after objective truth wherever it leads. But a business's number one goal, that's to make money and protect its bottom line. And when a company pays for research about its own products, well, those two goals can smash right into each other. So you might be wondering, how does this actually happen? How can a sponsor influence a study? Well, it turns out there's a whole playbook of tactics they can use to nudge the research in their favor. It really breaks down into three main moves. First, they get to set the agenda. That means they decide which questions get asked in the first place, and maybe more importantly, which ones don't. Next, they can work to control the narrative as the research is happening. And finally, if the results come back in a way they don't like, they can straight up censor them. Check this out. It's a perfect real-world example. A study, paid for by a vendor, suddenly discovers that, what a surprise, a whopping 88% of businesses are hemorrhaging money on IT costs. It just so happens that this is the exact problem their product is designed to fix. The language is scary, the stats are cherry-picked. It's not research, it's marketing. And this chart really tells the story, doesn't it? When you look at sponsored research, the findings are overwhelmingly positive for the sponsor. We're talking 75% of the time. Any mixed or negative results that might make the company look bad, yeah, those tend to get buried or just disappear entirely. But wait, there's more. The playbook goes even deeper. Sponsors can insist on the right to review and approve reports before they go public, giving them total veto power. They might censor any critical findings, hire influencers to create a fake buzz, or even hide the fact that they sponsored the research at all. It's all about making marketing look like objective fact. Okay, so this isn't just some interesting academic problem. This has huge real-world consequences that can affect businesses, policy, and honestly, all of us. Let's just take AI for a second. An incredible 80% of the top papers at major AI conferences now have corporate ties. Think about that. When a few giant tech companies are shaping almost the entire field of research, you have to ask, whose problems are we solving and who is benefiting? And you can see how this creates a really dangerous domino effect. You have policymakers, people who are trying to do the right thing and regulate new tech, and they're relying on these biased reports. So flawed information leads to a flawed analysis, which then leads to bad policy that ends up helping corporations instead of protecting the public. So what about the researchers who try to call this out? The ones who try to publish independent, critical work? Well, it can get ugly. We're talking legal threats, online harassment campaigns, being shut out of conferences. It creates this chilling effect that basically discourages anyone from speaking truth to power. And when you zoom out, all of this adds up to something much bigger and, frankly, much scarier: the slow erosion of scientific integrity itself. I mean, just put yourself in the shoes of a young researcher. Your entire career depends on getting funding and getting published. This system basically forces you into an impossible choice. Do you stick to your principles and risk your career, or do you produce the results the sponsor wants so you can survive? It's a terrible position to be in. This quote really just hits the nail on the head. If this trend continues, there's a real danger that our universities and research institutions stop being places of pure discovery and instead just become another arm of corporate PR. The whole point of the academy is put at risk. So when you piece it all together, the biased research, the pressure on scientists, the corporate influence, you end up in one place: a serious crisis of credibility.
And the fallout from this is massive. The public starts to get skeptical about all science, not just the stuff that's paid for. The hard work of genuinely independent researchers gets tarnished by association. And for all of us, it becomes almost impossible to tell what's a real solid finding and what's just really, really good marketing.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question to think about. This is about so much more than just IT budgets. It's about how we as a society find things out. When the whole process of discovery can be bought and sold, what happens to the truth?